ladies and gentlemen, Alexis Wiley of Moment Strategies.
Ooh. Do we have everybody?
TJ's getting mic'd up.
Oh, okay. Good morning. I feel like there should be more energy. You're in Detroit. We're super excited. You're going to have a great time back home. Welcome back. I'm Alexis Wiley. I'm the CEO of Moment Strategies, which is a strategic communications practice here in Detroit. Based here in the city, not very far from here, right up in the North End. And we do work all over the state of Michigan, and I'm so glad you could join us. In addition to all the things I've done over this time, from starting Moment to working with Mayor Mike Duggan as his chief of staff for almost 7 years, I would say that one of the coolest was co-chairing the 2024 NFL Draft with this amazing man, Claude Molinari. The funny part for me was that when I got the call to see if I'd want to co-chair, I said yes, but I don't think I really understood the true impact that the draft would have on the city of Detroit. I'd never been to a draft. I'd never experienced it. But to see the impact that it's made has been absolutely tremendous. But the coolest part is that while the draft really had everybody looking at Detroit, there has been this really amazing undercurrent of just this amazing sports culture in Detroit that is being built upon every day and is really generating huge impact here in the city. And I am just grateful to be joined by these gentlemen who play such an important role in lifting up Detroit's position when it comes to athletics in the city. I'd like each of you to introduce yourselves. Maybe we'll start down here with TJ and come down. And we'll talk a little bit about what you do and really what you see as being the true impact that sports can have on the city of Detroit.
Yeah, thanks, Alexis. I'm TJ Lang. I played in the NFL for 10 seasons, 8 in a team in Wisconsin that we won't talk about, and then got to finish at home here in Detroit. I grew up in Ferndale, Michigan originally, went to Eastern Michigan. And today I'm representing Game Above Sports, who we are bringing a Big 3 team, the 3-on-3 basketball that Ice Cube started about 7 years ago, to Detroit, hopefully in the summer of 2025. And thank you. And growing up in Detroit, you obviously are very familiar with the motor industry, the music industry, and sports. Sports to me was a bedrock of my upbringing, going to games, and I've always looked at it as the ultimate unifier in a community. We see what the Lions have done in the past couple of years. We see what the Tigers right across the street have been doing the last couple of weeks, and it's exciting times for the city and us at Game Above Sports. We're honored to be able to join that fraternity of sports teams, that an entertainment product that this city is really going to enjoy and have a lot of fun with.
That's awesome. Mike.
Great.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mike Disner. I'm the Chief Operating Officer with the Detroit Lions. All right. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm actually from West Bloomfield, went to Groves High School, was gone for a while before coming back here in 2019. It's actually pretty cool because both my parents are Wayne State alumni, so it's nice to be here. So, I would say sports in Detroit are synonymous. Growing up, I would get pulled from school to go to Tigers opening day. I remember vividly going to the Red Wings parade when they won for the first time, coming back from college and going to the Pistons parade in 2004. So you see the pride that everyone in the city and Detroiters around the country, around the world have in their sports and in their city. And really the pride in the city, really is shown, I would say, mostly through sports, and through their fandom. Because as you all know, living in different areas, it's not the same, if you're a Bears fan or a Lions, it's not the same. It's different when you are proud of this city. So I don't know if that answered.
No, it did. It did. Thank you, Sean.
Sean Mann, I am a founder, co-owner, CEO of Detroit City Football Club, soccer team here in Detroit. Thank you. It's this team is a very unique endeavor in American pro sports. It started with 5 friends, residents in the city, who each chipped in $2,200 to start a team. And now we've moved up to a point where last month we had our first nationally broadcast game on CBS, right? And,
Sean, when did you start DCFC?
So the precursor to DCFC was my day job was in politics. I worked at the state capitol for 12 years. In shock, I did not find that fulfilling. And so I was trying to find another way to make an impact in the city. And so in 2010, I started a neighborhood soccer league, adult co-ed, more about drinking and hanging out, but it was a community organizing project. And so it was Hubbard Farms versus Mexican Town versus Boston Edison. And that was really a linchpin in the city back in 2009, 2010 when that got going. And out of that, a group of us recognized that Detroit didn't have a soccer team, and it's truly the world sport, and no other sport I think brings people together like soccer. And so for us, this has been a civic endeavor. We still live in the city, and thanks to the reporters at Cranes, our secret of assembling land to build a stadium is now public knowledge. But a couple months ago, we were forced to announce that we've acquired 17 acres next to Michigan Central to build a forever home for soccer here in the city. So.
Awesome. That's a reason to cheer, right? Claude.
I'm Claude Molinari, President and CEO of Visit Detroit and the Detroit Sports Commission, and my job really is to bring Detroit to the world and the world to Detroit. So, it's gotten a lot easier in the last several years as there's a feeling and excitement, and the perception is changing about our great city in Southeast Michigan and the state. And so, events like the NFL draft have really changed that perception about Detroit, and it's been really exciting. In the last several months, we've really seen an uptick in both leisure and event and meetings and conventions looking to come to Detroit. In fact, so much so that we're looking to hire 3 more salespeople just to take up or pick up all the leads that are coming in. So these are great times in the city of Detroit and in our state, and I think it's critically important that we lean in now more than ever.
Thank you for that. Can you give us any hints on any things to come?
Well, I think we're working on some all-star games with teams that rhyme with NHL and NBA, and a whole lot of international associations of you don't care what their name is, but they're going to come and fill up all our hotel rooms and our restaurants and go to all our attractions.
All right, let's talk about the draft. So, Mike and Claude, the Lions, absolutely critical in really saying the draft, 2024 draft needed to be in Detroit. Talk about really that process that a lot of people didn't know about.
Yeah, well, it started before I joined the organization in 2019, and it was a whole lot of collaboration between the city, the state, the Lions organization, and Claude's group, to really see like a kernel of a dream into a reality. The NFL's been on the road for the draft for 10 or so years, starting in Chicago and going different places. And I think once our groups saw that, said there's no way that anyone can touch what we can do. Both from a city standpoint, an infrastructure standpoint, and also just the excitement that we know Lions fans and NFL fans around this area have. And I think we all saw that. I mean, we broke the attendance records, shattered it, and really the previous attendance record was kind of, because it was really just on Broadway in Nashville, so that doesn't really count. So we shattered every sort of record. You guys saw it, you heard it. You could tell that the city was packed to the brim, and people were excited, not just for the Lions and the NFL and the draft, but to show off our city, to the rest of the world.
And unlike the Super Bowl, where you've got a pretty strict criteria, not just for how much it costs, but also where they're going to go. You know, unless you build a brand new stadium with a dome, they're not going to bring it to a cold weather site. The NFL draft is really open to everybody, and the competition for this event is fierce. I mean, everybody wants to host it. And, you know, as Dan Gilbert has said, these things are kind of like a seduction. And we had a really, I thought, a great plan of, we wanted to have it right in the heart of downtown with skyscrapers and people flooding all throughout that area. You know, we saw when it was in Las Vegas and Kansas City and Cleveland, not to throw shade on them, but they were holding it in a giant parking lot between like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or their football stadium, or in Kansas City, way out of the downtown in this giant, you know, almost like a Central Park type of thing. And it was a picturesque setting, but you didn't have any feel for where you were going to be. And so when we were providing the NFL with like, this is our pitch and this is why you should choose Detroit, they really felt, all right, we like this vision. This speaks to us.
Well, and how many of you were here for the draft? All right, so you got a chance to see how amazing it was. For those of you who weren't, we've got a video that gives you a little bit more of a sense.
Tick-tock, Detroit.
Spent 2 years, and for some others, many more, planning for an event that really felt like Detroit. I know one of the big concerns that we discussed and that was just something that we kept a very close eye on was we wanted this event to really be inclusive. We did not want people to at all feel like it was not for them. We wanted to make sure that Detroiters had ownership of the NFL draft and could benefit. You know, I think, Mike, do you want to speak at all to that from the Lions' perspective, and also Claude?
Sure.
I can start. You know, I think that we were unique both in our pitch to the NFL as well as in our execution. That, you know, to your point, you know, we wanted to make the draft for everybody, whether it was different areas, you know, not just in the footprint that people could go, whether it was different community events, whether it was, you know, different initiatives for vendors around the city to diversify what the NFL usually does with their vendors. You know, we had a big effort, you know, over 22 and 23 to, you know, to make that a reality, and it was something that was completely unique, you know, for the NFL. They never really did anything to the scale that we did from a, you know, vendor diversity standpoint.
No doubt. And I think there's two critical pieces that we really leaned in on. Number one was we did an on-the-clock tour, and it started out, we did like a mini NFL draft that we brought to every rec center in the city of Detroit. And it was getting so much buzz and so many people were loving it that then all of a sudden Farmington Hills and Oakland County and Wayne County and even Lansing were like, we want our own on-the-clock tour. And so it basically traveled all over the country. All over the state. But that really got people fired up about it. I know my team's scores for work-life balance went down a little bit because of this, but it really was great for the community. But the other part was that we put $1 million into a living legacy program for youth sports, or really more like youth activity and literacy. So coming out of the draft, $1 million was support towards, helping our youth in two things that are really important, which is being able to read and being healthy. And so for us, I think we're really excited about that. And as we're hosting the 2027 NCAA Final Four, that's another thing that we're going to continue to build on that. So every time we host one of these major events, we want to add to that living legacy so that there's a long-term positive benefit to all of Southeast Michigan.
And on top of that, $1 million went to small Black-owned businesses in contracts for the NFL draft. So we made sure that there was also a business impact to it. Thank you. Yeah, that's a reason to cheer, right? But shifting gears, we made community really the centerpiece, the foundation rather, on what the draft was built on. But Sean, when you think about really the importance of community and what DCFC has built and is building, talk about, you kind of spoke a little bit to it when you talked about kind of how you started it, but talk about that really that groundswell of support that's helped build this.
Yeah, I think what we've strived for is always to be Detroit soccer team and to embody the city in a special way. And so we always strive to maintain and reach new levels of authenticity and reach and to create something that people care about. I live in the city, my partners, we live in the city, send our kids to public schools. Our friends to this day is the small business owner ecosystem in the city. And so, that's something that we're just ingrained in, and I think we always try to keep an eye towards, even as we scale up and we work towards a stadium project, it's with an eye towards, how do we differentiate ourselves and how do we be the most Detroit entity possible? On a fun level, we're the world's largest seller of Strohs, right? Which 18-year-old Sean would be very proud of. But on the other end, it's how is our team a platform for small business vendors, whether it's in the food court or the cleaning services, whoever we're hiring, it's people in this community. And so, and on top of that, we've now I feel fully ingrained in the city in that it's carried over to our staff, that we now have over 50 full-time employees, and 2/3 of them voluntarily live in the city of Detroit, or they're Detroit residents. And that goes now into our programming, not just the men's professional team, but our youth system. We're the first team in the country. We have $1. You have all your ticket fees and everything like that. We have $1 ticket fee on ours that goes to underwriting our youth soccer program for kids in the city. So, so we have
And speaking of that youth soccer program, my 4-year-old is in that program.
Bang.
And it's so cool on Saturday mornings to be able to take them to take her down there, all the kids, and then you see people that and it's just become such a community thing.
That neighborhood league that I referenced back in 2010, we had 2 future city council members in that league. We had countless future small business owners. And now fast forward 15 years later, and you go to the field house, which some of you are doing a tour. Now that's a hub for youth sports, and those people who we were getting drunk with on Belle Isle 15 years ago, now they are there with their kids, and their kids are playing in our youth system, and some of them still play later in the evening, in our adult leagues. And so it's really about creating hubs where people are building intersection and fostering the community that really makes Detroit strong.
Yeah. You got a TV deal now. You've got this huge, you're building the stadiums, you're doing all this these really cool things. Do you ever worry that as you grow, do you ever worry that you could lose touch, and what do you do to try to maintain that?
There's a lot of things. It's still a small business, and so there's a lot of things that ground me on a daily basis. The title CEO, the joke is the E stands for excrement sometimes, because I find myself having to deal with a toilet situation in the stadium in the middle of the game, and I'm talking to a sponsor. It's always something that keeps you on your toes. But I think it's key to who we are and that level of accessibility. And so if you come to Keyworth, I do my Walmart greeter routine where I'm at the front gate and I'm shaking hands. And also a key thing is, we sold 10% of the club to our fans back in 2020. And so we have 2,700 people that have a unit of our, at least one unit of our LLC, which is a colossal pain in the ass every March when we have to issue K1s. But like, it also builds that level of ownership, literal ownership in this organization. And as part of that, like, we have monthly owners meetings where I'm there fielding questions, hanging out with folks. And so that's always kind of core to who we are. And if we're going to succeed, we have to maintain that.
That's awesome. All right, TJ, you're the newcomer to town. Tell us what attracted you guys to Detroit.
Yeah, well, I think the beauty of our Game Above Sports group is that everybody in the group has major Detroit ties. Our founder and CEO, Keystone, is a Detroit guy, Eastern Michigan alumni. One of the best basketball players to ever play in the NBA, George Gervin, is a Detroit local, as everybody knows, the Iceman. He's a big part of our group as well. Other guys that we have, Anthony Tomey, who is a Detroit guy who owns a lot of restaurants in the city, along with born in Detroit, 8 Mile Vodka. Everybody has a strong foothold here in Detroit. So when this opportunity came, a lot of guys, George Gervin has been in the Big Three coaching for the last few years now, and when he came to our group and said, you know, I think Ice Cube and the fellas are starting to branch out a little bit, it was a no-brainer for us, not only because of our passion and growing up and having roots in Detroit, but just understanding how big Detroit is as a sports town. And I've always been a believer that you can never have enough sports options. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid, Mike talking about going downtown. I remember going to Detroit Vipers games, who were a small hockey league, right? And there used to be a soccer team that used to play at Cobo Hall that I used to ask my parents to go to. So we would love to bring in one of the best basketball products to Detroit, entertainment product, but more than that, and I like what everybody else has kind of spoken on as well, the youth impact. That's been a major goal of ours, is how can we get the community involved through camps or youth development, because we really believe that's where it starts. You know, if we can reach out and have an impact on kids in the community, we're going to rely on them to, you know, hey, mom and dad, can I go to the Big Three game, right? We're having so much fun at the camps. I want to go see these guys play. So it was a unique opportunity, and we're excited to see how it's going to continue to grow, because I think we are one of 4 teams right now that are going to go into individual cities, Los Angeles, awesome. Miami, and I believe Houston, and then we were the 4th team. So we're excited to see how much further the Big Three can continue to grow.
And when can we expect to go to a game?
Hopefully it's the summer of 2025, so
okay.
Things have to move pretty quick over the next couple months or so, but we have been in, you know, we're meeting probably 3-4 days a week. We're trying to pick team names, we're trying to pick jersey colors, and we're trying to, you know, make a strong effort to let it reflect on the city of Detroit, right? Let the city's kind of passion and personality reflect on everything that we're building.
Claude.
I think Mr. Lang really brings up a great point, though, about the voracious appetite for sports and entertainment that is Southeast Michigan market. Like, everybody sells out Taylor Swift in their stadium, but not every, you know, genre is going to sell out Morgan Wallen for 2 straight days at Ford Field. I mean, we have every venue, from small theaters to giant stadiums, and every weekend, from the Fox, the Fisher, the Fillmore, the Sonic Temple, Ford Field, Little Caesars Arena, every single one of them almost always has some sort of an event. And sometimes you're seeing somebody in the upswing where they're going from those to the arena and then back on the downswing. But no matter what it is, they have success here in Detroit. And I think that's, you know, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, this is a place where people can come and really succeed and find their niche.
Awesome. So as we're getting close to the end here, we're in a room of really amazing people with great networks who care a lot about seeing our city succeed. Is there anything that they can do to be supportive of what you're doing and really lifting up sports in Detroit? Events in Detroit, all the things. Whoever wants to go first.
Well, certainly any hotel developers in the room, we're releasing a study that basically says that if you're looking to develop hotels anywhere in the world, Detroit should be on your list. We just completed that study, and We are,
Something to cheer about.
So, you know, and again, I think that is something that is really has the only thing that's stopping us, frankly, from becoming a much greater meetings and conventions destination. Because, you know, if somebody brings an event here, we have all the infrastructure that's necessary except for the number of hotel rooms. And what happens if somebody needs, let's say, 6,000 hotel rooms on peak, and you can only offer them 4,000, they don't give you 4,000, they give you none, and they choose a different city. And so that's been our constant Achilles heel. So we right now have over 1,500 hotel rooms in development right now, either in construction or about to break ground. But if we tripled that, that would still only put us in the middle of our competitive set. And that's critical. And the other thing, if I may, I don't want to take too much, but large special event legislation, talking to our legislators, you know, when we're competing against the other states for major events like the Final Four, the Olympic trials, things along those lines, you can guarantee whenever they say, all right, the next 4 Final Fours, that either San Antonio, Dallas, or Houston is going to get one of them. Because Texas understands that when you invest in these major events, there's a huge economic impact, and they are using their state dollars to attract those events. And to give you a point, basically all in for the NFL draft between Visit Detroit, the state of Michigan, the Lions, our partners in philanthropical, we spent $15 million. The total economic impact was $215 million, but the real, for me, the most important factor was $160 million of it came from people from 100 miles away or greater. Yeah. And so think about, I mean, I'm not a Wall Street guy, but who would invest $15 million to make $160 million?
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much for that, Claude. And hopefully you can learn more by going to Visit Detroit and ways you can get in touch with him and help on efforts like that. All right, Sean.
I mean, we'll take all the support we can get. I mean, you know, the whole notion of Detroit being a great sports town, I think that's a reflection of just the amount of pride that people have in Detroit, whether they're here, they've moved on. And so, you know, now that we are traveling across the country every week, whether we're in Tampa or San Diego or San Antonio, there's always dozens of Detroit fans. And I know the other teams obviously experience that to even greater extent. But that's always refreshing, having folks come out and support us. You know, it's funny, you know, the life that it's taken here. You know, we have a few celebrity fans who are Detroit natives who wear our gear when they make public appearances, which is always a huge kick, even after all this time. But yeah, I mean, in a very practical sense, as much as I was complaining about the community ownership, you know, as we move towards the stadium, we'll probably do another one, even though it's a big administrative pain, but it's just who we are at this point, and it's kind of expected, so we would anticipate we'll do another Reg CF at some point in the next couple of years as we gear up for the stadium.
All right, Mike, America's team, what do they need?
Hotels. I'll echo what Claude said. Hotels.
All right.
You know, any national, local, you know, mid-level, high-level event, you know, worldwide, the only reason that, you know, someone would look at Detroit and say we're not getting it is hotels. That is it. So I'll echo everything that Claude said. You know, that's what we need. You know, in terms of being America's team, you know, or really America's sports town, because I think it really is. You know, we have a unique fan base, right? Our fan base, you know, supports us at home. Yeah, they support us on the road. I mean, we had 4 or 5 games last year where, you know, I had people coming up to me, you know, my colleagues at other teams that said, I've never seen this, you know, never seen anything like it, whether it's Tampa, Green Bay, you know, Kansas City, where the crowd is just covered in Honolulu blue, and they get there early, they stay late, they're chanting the whole time. So, you know, our players and our staff, you know, we see that, and, you know, you can't help but, you know, be excited to play for them. You know, one of the reasons why we have Detroit across our chest now in our new jerseys, you know, because we're proud of it, and we're proud to represent, you know, those people that are, you know, coming to our games here, watching on TV, but also going on the road and being there with us.
All right, well, and we're proud of the Lions, so thank you for all you guys are doing.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. Let's give them a round of applause. Can we just please? Amazing. All right, TJ, I'm not ending without you.
All right. Well, much like Sean said with the football club, we're going to be a startup, you know, come next summer. So we understand as the ownership group the challenge that it's going to take to bring a really good product here. Some of the best, hopefully the best basketball players in the world. We're going to, hope that Big Three or 3-on-3 was huge in the Olympics this past summer. I think that raised a lot of awareness and probably gained a lot of fans as well. So I think that we know, we've got to put a team together that's going to reflect the toughness and the attitude of this city. And I think that we would ask, much like Sean, just for the support and the pride that it takes to, call another team home here, right in the middle of downtown Detroit.
All right. Thank you all for everything that you're doing. And thanks for being here. Thanks for coming home. And hopefully you can support all of these great folks who are doing such great work. Thank you. I think we got somebody who may have been left off the stage. Might have a, are you, dude, I promise you I didn't plan this. I promise you. Round of applause for the Pistons.
Hey, Hoop, what's up?
Again, check it to record, let's begin. Party on, party people, let me hear some noise. DC's in the house, jump, jump, rejoices. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These three words mean you're getting busy. Whoa, there it is, hit me. All about. Now it's time for it to get on the mic and make this mother party hot. I'm taking it back to the old school, cause I'm an old fool who's so cool. If you wanna get down, I'ma show you the way. There it is, let me hear you say. I drink and bent as I puff on tank, rock the mic. I crave skin rip, find a honey dip to dip it in, slam dunk it, stick it, flip it and ride that B-double-O-T-Y, oh my. Ooh, that's it, come on, whoop, there it is, I'm done. The underground sound that you have. Like sweet